I saw it in my paddle. I'm like, oops, we have to get the building. No, I came in for yours.
John.
George, are you on mic live right now?
Yes.
Okay, can you shut the mics off and we'll get this up? People are logged in?
Yep.
Let's call the meeting to order. Can I have a roll call? Roll call? Oh. Yes, the stand for the pledge of flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call, please.
Mr. DePlatis?
Here.
Ms. George? Here. Ms. Ferguson? Here. Mr. Hagan?
Here.
Mr. Kennedy?
Here.
Ms. Dunn?
Here.
Mr. Marburger? Ms. Valenta? Here. Ms. Wick? Here. With 8 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. For the reports, Kevin, do you have a foundation report?
Yes, I do. Mars Planet Foundation met in the boardroom on March 16, 2021. I'd like to thank everyone who supported the foundation through the Farmhouse Cafe Dinner to Go fundraiser. Our next Dinner to Go fundraiser will be at 10 to K, so please keep your eye out for details on that. So share it soon. The Walk Around Mars is in full swing. We're entering our second week. This week you should be wearing a costume and getting your picture taken and sending it to either the Facebook page or Instagram or whatever it is. Go to the website for more information on that. During our meeting, we had the pleasure of hearing Mr. Crosswalk on a teacher grant proposal. The foundation will again be supplying signs for our graduating seniors. Excited about that. So final reminder to the seniors and parents to get the scholarship application submitted. The deadline is coming up very quickly, and it's April 15th. And Megan has an update on some scholarships.
So most of the Mars Planet Foundation scholarships are due to be applied to by April 15th. So if you are a graduating senior or a parent of a senior, make sure your kids are getting into the guidance office and getting these in. Right now, the Planet Foundation has 17 scholarships that they're offering. There's actually another one in the works right now. And these scholarships are for multiple types of students. There's ones for students who are going into vo-tech type of education. There's ones going to college. There's ones who aren't going to college and are, doing business types of things. They're not all GPA based. And I made a note here that last year there was a Mars student who got multiple scholarships from the foundation and got over $10,000. So I know when students are looking at these scholarships, they're seeing $1,000 here, $500 here, but it all adds up. And it's just going to limit your debt liability. So there are 2 brand new scholarships that just came out in the last week. The first one is the Jake Cooper Memorial Scholarship, and there will be 2 $5,000 scholarships given, one to a boy and one to a girl, in memory of Jake Cooper, who was a student here at Mars. So all of these, again, are on the MarsPlanetFoundation.org website or the school district's website. And the second one is through the Cambrian Foundation. It's another memorial scholarship for Mr. Hole, and it provides a sliding scholarship. They actually said they're going to do 2 this year. So it will be between $1,000 to $2,500. And it can be for any form of continuing education. If you want to go into field work, a hands-on program, anything like that, that maybe would be like an aquatic career. You will also get your scuba diving open water license through this scholarship for free. So what's interesting about this is it could be you want to go into the military and be a marine diver, or maybe you want to study marine biology, something like that. It's very wide scope of applicants. So make sure you're getting those applications in.
Our next meeting will be April 20th, and we will.
Thank you. This is coming from the foundation. We did have a closed session prior to this meeting. Just want to announce that. So we did. And student council, is there anyone from student council here this evening? Is there anyone from student council available? If not, we'll catch you at the end. If you come out for the end of the meeting, maybe you can jump in and student council. Before we do public comment, Dr. Gross, want to make a quick comment?
Sure. Yeah, I just wanted to alert everyone and also the board that we changed and updated, I guess would be a better word, our quarantine recommendations, our quarantine protocols. On March 16th of 2021, we did get a Health Alert Network update from Allison Beam. She's the acting Secretary of Health, which basically says that the 14-day quarantine period for close contacts is still the safest. So that's what we've been following. However, I have been aware by several community members that were asking, why we weren't using the alternatives that she outlined, which could reduce our quarantine periods. And I certainly understand the parents' concerns. It's probably extremely frustrating for parents when their children are home and they're not sick and they're missing out on the social things. And so school's more than just academics, it's also social, emotional, and I do get that. So what we did today is, even though the Department of Health is saying 14 days is the safest, it does give us a little bit of leeway when we are quarantining students, or even adults for that case, that are close contacts. And basically, to summarize, and I won't read to anyone, but it used to be a 14-day quarantine that was mandatory if you were a close contact with someone with COVID. This new guidance allows us to shorten that quarantine period. If someone does not have symptoms, they can return after 10 days, as long as they're not symptomatic. So that will be our new protocol. Certainly, if they're symptomatic, they're not to return. It can also be shortened to 8 days, and how that can happen is, and I'll say it slowly because it took us a while to wrap our heads around this. If someone is quarantined, they can come back 10 days if they're not symptomatic. If they get a negative test result within 48 hours of the day of return, they can return on day 8. The guidance said a student can return after day 8 if they have a negative test result. But here's the caveat that we all have to get used to. That negative test result has to be, so let's say there's a 10-day quarantine. To come back on day 8, that test result and test has to occur anywhere from day 5 on. So let's say somebody is quarantined, they want to get back to school. It's day 2. That test is not going to do anything for us. The guidance specifically states that the test must be negative, and it must be anytime from day 5 on. So there's 2 scenarios now with quarantines. 14 days is no longer necessary. Worst case, someone can't get tested. They stay out 10, but we bring them back. They're not symptomatic. If they're not symptomatic, want to come back earlier, as long as they get a negative test result between days 5 and 7, we can bring them back on day 8. So that information was blasted out today. So anyone who's listening tonight, you might want to read that a few times to sort of wrap your head around it. We're looking forward to trying to reduce these quarantines because we do know it's problematic, especially with students who are in activities. And as a parent myself, anybody who's emailed me expressing their concern, it didn't fall on deaf ears. We always try to take the safest route, and PD does, or Department of Health does say in writing that 14 days is the safest, but we aren't alone. Other schools have chosen to make the decision to reduce the quarantine period because we feel that the social, emotional needs of kids are just as important. So that change was made immediately. That was today. So if anyone is on quarantine right now, this is in effect now. If somebody's sitting home and they were told, wait 14 days, we sent this out to principals today. Anybody that's on quarantine, if they meet these new requirements, they can come back either after day 10 or day 8 with a negative test. The second part of that is I'm actually happy I'm able to talk about people that are vaccinated, because weeks and weeks ago wasn't even the case. So we've also updated our guidance, again, relying upon the Department of Health recommendations for asymptomatic, fully vaccinated individuals. And the good news there is if someone has received the vaccine, whether it be the 1 shot or 2, but when they've completed the vaccine and then they're 2 weeks post having the vaccine, there is no quarantine required at all. So that's sort of a summary of where we're at. That went out today, and it's effective immediately.
Move on to public comment. This time we'll do public comment on agenda items. Just remember, this is not a question and answer session. This is public comment. So if anyone wishes to do public comment at this point for agenda items, anyone? Anyone wish to do a public comment on agenda items? So we'll move on with the agenda. Seeing none. Next week we'll approve the minutes. But on personnel, under addendum number 1, numbers 1 through 4, and numbers 6 through 7. Can I have a first and a second?
Is Kevin so moved?
Anthony, second.
Board discussion, comments? Seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So personnel carries. Under personnel, on addendum number 1, number 5, we have a first and a second.
This is Dale, so moved.
Kevin, second.
Board discussion.
This is Megan. I'm voting no to this, and the only reason being is I want to see us try and stagger our contracts a little bit more. I've been on this board for 18 months, I guess, and we've hired a new superintendent, done the assistant superintendent's contract. We have support staff contract, teachers, professional contract, and now the business manager. And now our superintendent and our assistant superintendent will be done at the same time, and then our business manager will be done, a year later. And so those are 3 extremely important leadership roles, and I'd just like to see more staggering between the contracts of when they're up. Contracts cost money. We don't even know the end result yet for other contracts we have right now on the table of when they would be due. And I just think it would be a good idea to make sure we're having these contracts not all at the same exact time, especially as for future board members to not have such a crazy year. That's all.
Any other board comment?
This is Spencer's your time. Maybe after we vote, we can introduce her.
Yes. Any other board comment? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Ms. Lenz,
No.
Mr. Marburger, Ms. Valenta. Yes. Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Mr. DePrettis,
Yes.
Ms. Dorsch,
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson. Yes. That is 8 or 7 yes, 1 no.
Thank you. Mrs. Branstetter is in the back of the room. I'm gonna go away. Yeah, you want to introduce yourself and say that?
Debbie Branstetter, just really excited and looking forward to starting here later this month. And board and administration hiring me for this position, and I'm very excited and looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. The board's really excited to have you here. A lot of years of experience, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you. Any other board comment? So the rest of the agenda, the finance, the programs, buildings and grounds, and others, that's something we'll all be voting on this month, or next week, excuse me. Moving on to public comment. This is an open forum again. This is not a question and answer, this is just a public comment. Does anyone wish to have a public comment at this point? public comment? Does anyone wish to have public comment at this point? Mrs. Rush, you'll have 3 minutes. Just remember, this is not a question and answer. Give me 1 second, we still read.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay. So you have 3 minutes. Go ahead and say your name and address.
Amber Rush, 112 Justice Drive, Valencia, PA 16059. Good evening, school board and administration. Dr. Gross, thank you for getting the missing Title I parent complaint form online. Also, I'd like to thank the district for mailing out the invitations for the Reading Roundup camp that is being offered due to lost services. It is nice to see that on the camp invitation that all Title I students from the 2019-2020 school year have been invited, since the amount of hours and those affected by lack of services hasn't been agreed upon from what I brought to the table. I know this isn't a question and answer, but there is a lot of confusion in the district of when the loss of services took place and if it's because of COVID. So I think it's fair to ask, when were these services not done so that there isn't any confusion or rumors in the community. Also, next year, will the primary center have a principal, or will we be doing another interim or another acting principal where an administrator does dual roles? And is there any update that can be shared on the Launchpad being offered next year? I know it was a homemade program. I know it was Tier 3 support, but if Launchpad is not going to be offered, what is offered for Tier 3 support? And also, in talking about MTSS, what support do we have in place for Tier 2 and Tier 3 in reading and math in the primary center, the elementary, and Centennial? Still haven't heard a reply or update on that. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to have public comment this evening? Anyone else wish to have public comment? Seeing none, I'll move on to the association. Is Mrs. Lipinski there? I said it again. Well, that's in there, I'm sorry.
Shelley's always.
Sorry's always easy for me to say.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, this is Shelley Zoli. I am going to speak for Sharon Lipnicki tonight on behalf of the association. I am the vice president. First, I'd like to make sure everybody had a great spring break. I know I did. Feeling refreshed, ready to start the fourth 9 weeks. Looking forward to all the fun and excitement that comes with the end of the year. I'd like to also congratulate our new business manager, Debbie. Welcome. Looking forward to working with you and meeting you.
Thank you.
Also, thank you to Dr. Gross for keeping up with all the changing COVID protocols and for organizing our vaccines. It was really made simple for us, and we appreciate that. Also, happy National Library Week. We have great librarians. So with that, I think that's all we've got. You guys have a great night. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Administration, Dr. Gross?
I want to make clear, I appreciate Shelley, your thanking me for the vaccine organization, but in all fairness, it was our team that did it. I want to really give a lot of credit to Jackie Klingeman and Dr. McMahon. It was a lot of work. The IU, though, I have to thank the IU and Wade Kilmeyer and his group there. It was a group effort, but Shelley, we appreciate that you're happy how we organized it, and it was a lot of work, but it was really spread out among a lot of people, and appreciate that. Other than that, I do not have a specific report this evening.
Thank you. Dr. McMahon?
I just want to, a special thanks out to Joellen Doherty. She is a grandmother of a parent in the Mars Area Primary Center, and you can see the masks that the school board is wearing because the Special Education Parent Advisory Committee, they were given these masks in support of awareness for Autism Month, which is April this month, and so they'll be wearing our masks with pride. So thank you very much to Joellen Doherty, and we appreciate your efforts on behalf of our students and autism awareness. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sweeney?
I have nothing, thank you.
Any other administrators here? No. I think that's all administrators, so we'll go with administrator report. Board comment? Does anyone wish to have a board comment this evening?
This is Christine. I've got a couple items. I just want to draw attention to this week's e-communicator. If you haven't had a chance to look at it, I would encourage you to do so. On page 1, it talks about high school offering a financial aid webinar at 6:30 on tomorrow, Wednesday, April 7th. It's for students and parents of grades 9 through 11. The webinar apparently is going to cover topics such as college costs, latest headlines and trends, web resources, scholarships, grants, financial aid terminology, federal and student aid, FAFSA forms, loans, work study programs, and more. If you've ever read through the joy of the FAFSA form, I would encourage you to take advantage of the tutorial, the webinar that is available to you. It's never too early to get started on that adventure with your students. Also on page 4, the newsletter talks about the Midwest Intermediate Unit 4 offering a virtual how-to family story series webinar, and I took a look at the link actually in the newsletter, and it has some great topics in there: how to better understand and navigate IEPs, be prepared for an IEP meeting, plan and prepare for life after high school, support your student and study skills and homework, navigate and work with agencies, navigate post-secondary options, support your child's behavior at home, promote social emotional learning at home. Certainly, we've all experienced with that this year. How to help your child explore career options, how to skip the summer slide, strategies to keep your child on track. There were just some great topics there that were being offered, and those webinars were, starting in October and ran all the way through May of 2021. So I encourage you to take a look at that, just to be aware that those resources are out there. Another big thank you to Dr. Gross and whoever else within the district was responsible for setting up the career awareness program CAP activities that are coming up in the high school for grade 9, career interest in surveys, mentoring plan. Grade 10 was PSAT assessment that's coming up that'll require students to be in person. Grade 11 was the Armed Vocational Aptitude Battery Test. Again, students need to be in school for that. And grade 12 was career interest in survey, along with prom and graduation information. So lots of good information in the communicator letter, and opportunities for students and parents to explore what's coming next in their students' lives. So definitely good stuff. Take a look at that when you have a chance. And then a final kudos to the 33 high school students and 9 staff members for the indoor profession line who qualified as a finalist for the National Drumline Competition that will be held virtually this Sunday. That's a huge achievement for Mars. There was only one other school from Pennsylvania that I recognize as from Allegheny. So that's a huge achievement for the Mars Drumline. And Winter Guard is also competing in the semifinals this weekend, which again is a massive achievement for the Guard for Mars Area School District. So best of luck to both Winter Guard and to the indoor professional line. That's it.
Any other board comments this evening? Any other board comment? Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Megan, so moved.
Kevin, second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
So we're adjourned. Thank you very much.